Devil in a red dress. Call 911, I'm a killer. You know I hate to confess. Bang, bang, got my hand on the trigger. The devil in a red dress. Call 911, I'm a killer. You know I hate to confess. Bang, bang, got my hand, bang, got my hand. Call
Yo, what is up guys? Welcome to another Wild Rift video, and in today's video I'll be playing what might be one of the most underrated champions in the game, which is Pantheon. For some reason, a lot of people think Pantheon is not good. I do never see Pantheon in my ranked games. I just don't get it. See, there are so many champions, I just don't get why people don't play them. You know, like Vayne Baron Lane, I made the video. Teemo is also good in situations. Nasus, Tryndamere, there is all these champions that I never see, and I'm gonna be making videos on these types of champions because I just got so sad. So today's video is Pantheon, of course, and during the gameplay part of the video I'm gonna be explaining to you how you can really play him to his powers. So in the beginning part of the video I'm gonna explain to you how to build Pantheon. If you want to skip it, timestamps in the descriptions. However, before you're skipping, I really don't recommend you to skip, because this is where like 75% of the Pantheon play goes, because if you build him wrong, he absolutely sucks. So let me talk to you about how to build him. I've tried different builds. I've tried starting with Yumo's Ghostblade. I've tried starting with Trinity Force. I've tried starting with Blade Rune King, everything, Starrick's Gauge. But let me tell you that this is the best. Let me explain to you why starting with Black Cleaver is pretty much always going to be the best thing for you. First of all, it makes you tanky. It gives you 350 max health. Secondly, it gives you 25 ability haste. See, the only thing that Blade Rune King is better at is for, you know, sustainability and damage. It gives you more damage and more sustainability, but you do not need that. The thing is, what this does, what Black Cleaver does, the passive, dealing physical damage to a champion, reduces their armor by 5%, and it stacks up to 5 times. Now, what does Pantheon's empowered second ability do, guys? It deals physical damage 3 times in a row. It goes like boom, boom, boom. So boom, 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 you're going to be shredding 15% of their armor immediately, before like even doing anything. So that's why it's absolutely amazing. So you do your second ability, basic attack first ability, and you've already shredded 25% of their armor. Already. Like right at the start of the fight, you've already shredded all of their armor. I mean 25% of the armor. That's why Black Cleaver is absolutely a must buy as your first item. Now see, Yumo's Ghostblade. This item is only good if you're against a very squishy enemy. See what Yumo's Ghostblade does, and by the way, I only recommend you to get Yumo's Ghostblade when you play jungle Pantheon, not in the Baron lane. Do not go for this item in the Baron lane, because you do not need the bonus movement speed in the Baron lane. This item as well, guys. Duskblade of Draktar. Now let me talk to you about this item. I love this item. I never see anyone build it on Pantheon, but let me tell you, this item is an absolute, it makes you an assassin. It makes you an assassin Pantheon. See, it's good when you come out of a bush with your second ability and then just, you're going to do an insane amount of damage. But it is also good when you use your ultimate. See, when you use your ultimate, you're going to become invisible and you're going to get that empowered damage from the Duskblade of Draktar. However, if you do build the Duskblade of Draktar, take it as your first item. I recommend it on jungle, but you could do it in Baron lane if you're against a squishy champion that you can absolutely demolish. But as I said, Black Cleaver is just gonna be a safer pick for you. It also skills better into the late game. Now for your boots, it depends. See, I really like plated steel caps if you're against a lot of attack damage. If you're against a lot of stuns, go for the Mercury threads. If cooldown reduction, Ionic Boots of Lucidity, but the thing is, you already have the Black Cleaver, which gives you 25 ability haste. There is another boot that I don't see a lot of people go for, which is Boots of Swiftness. These ones could also be interesting on Pantheon. This would be good to catch up to an enemy, and if you're playing against champions like Janna, you know, champions that can slow you, Boots of Swiftness grants you 30% reduction to the slows, as it reads. So as your second item, Blade Rune King. Now when you get this item, you become an absolute 1v1 powerhouse. And I repeat, 1v1 powerhouse. This build is amazing at 1v1s, but it's kind of hard to pull off in a team fight. You can still do it. I'll show you during the gameplay part how, because you have to kind of catch out enemies, but I'll talk about that more during the gameplay part. But this, after you get the Blade Rune King, you can pretty much 1v1 anyone unless you're super behind. As your third item, I really like Starrick's Gauge. You can also go for other items like Death's Dance. For example, if the enemy has a lot of burst damage, you can go for Guardian Angel if they have like a lot of attack damage. Guardian Angel. You can even just straight up go for full tank Pantheon after these first two items, which I don't recommend, by the way. But if your team really lacks a frontline, just go for tank items like Thormill, like Randuin's Omen, right? Just items like these, Deadman's Blade, just if you need it, only if you need it. So Starrick's Gauge, as I said, amazing item on Pantheon. It gives you a lot more damage and the lifeline is really good. Death's Dance is decent as well. If the enemy has a lot of tanks, like a lot of frontlines to get through, just go for a Mortal Reminder, straight up. Otherwise, just go for the Death's Dance. If they have a lot of magic damage, go for the Maw of Momortius. And if you don't want more damage, if you really just want to be tanky against magic damage, go for the Force of Nature. So these are the items that you want to go for. The most important thing is the first two items. Go for the Black Cleaver and then the Blades of Rune King. It's always going to be good. Now here for your runes, and here it's also going to get important. Conqueror. You can very easily stack up your Conqueror with your empowered second ability. So you should always get the Conqueror on Pantheon. Now here, always go for Champion, unless you're a beginner Pantheon. So Champion is basically the rune that Pantheon has to go for. Let me tell you why. Because you can absolutely abuse it in the early game. You also have a lot of survivability with your third ability, so just go for the Champion. Even if you die one time, it's fine. You still have that 4% bonus damage, which is quite significant. It's like almost an Infernal Dragon, right? So go for Champion rune on Pantheon. Otherwise, you can go for Brutal, but as I said, Champion is just 10 times better on Pantheon. As your third rune, it's situational, whatever you feel like you need. Hunter Titan is basically always good, you know, if the enemy has stuns. Do not go for Bone Plating, because you're not gonna need it. You have your third ability already to reduce damage, so do not go for Bone Plating. Hunter Titan is gonna be good. Adaptive Carapace could be good if you have a hard matchup in lane. But as I said, Hunter Titan is basically always safe for you. As your fourth rune, go for Sweet Tooth, because Sweet Tooth, repeat after me, is broken. Now for your spells, always Flash and Ignite. I do not want to see you go for Barrier on Pantheon. I do not want to see you go for Barrier on Pantheon. Alright, that was it for the build. Let's get into the gameplay. Alright, on to the gameplay. So, before getting into the gameplay, I want to say something that's incredibly important to understand about Pantheon. Pantheon is not really an amazing solo queue champion. Now let me explain to you why. And you'll see why during this game. Like, you'll see why. Pantheon is strong in the early game, and that's why I told you that you should always get Champion rune. Because Pantheon is like a snowballing champion, but Pantheon is not a champion that can carry games. So what I mean with that is, even if you're like, what, 8,000 gold ahead on Pantheon, you can still lose the game. It's not like Darius, for example, right? Like when you're ahead on Darius, you can just completely carry the game. When you're ahead on Nasus, you can carry the game. Even Singed can carry the game. And talking about Singed, I want to tell you guys a thing. Singed is quite literally the worst matchup possible on Pantheon. You may think like, what is he talking about? And I just killed the Singed. Let me tell you why Singed is absolutely like insanely hard to play against as a Pantheon. First of all, your third ability is useless against Singed. I mean, it can reduce damage, of course, but Singed can just run behind you. He can throw you behind him, and it's going to be incredibly hard to dodge his gas. Secondly, Singed deals more sustained damage than you. Third of all, Singed is kinda tanky, so you're really not gonna be able to burst him down. Like whenever you jump on the Singed, he's gonna be able to throw you behind him and completely demolish you. I just killed the Singed here because I am an absolute badass. Somehow I was able to kill him, but normally you won't be able to kill a Singed like that. So please do not pick Pantheon into Singed. This guy just countered me. Pantheon is generally you should be able to win lane on Pantheon. Really, like, he's really good early game, as I said. His combo with his second ability and his first ability is just, it's like insanely powerful in the early game. It deals so much burst damage. Here you can see, you know, you can also use your first ability to farm safely. But what I'm doing here is I'm ahead. I got my items, I wanna fight. I am so incredibly strong right now. Take a look at this, like, I'm just very strong right now. Gragas just completely failed. That is so sad. But boom, I killed the Rengar. Here it's a bit hard for me. I just go on the Singed and boom, another kill. I get level 5. Just look at this. How am I still alive? And another thing, over the wall. Just look at this, man. What? This is what I'm talking about. This is basically Pantheon. So let me tell you how all this happened. I was winning my lane, I was ahead of the Singed, and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna stay in lane, I will go to the jungle and fight. See, early game Pantheon, as I said, especially when you run the champion rune, you wanna fight, because you are incredibly powerful in the early game. That's just how Pantheon's kit works. He's really good in 1v1s, 2v2s, 3v3s. He is not as good in team fights. Okay, I'll get to that one later. So that's why you want to go for these jungle fights. You always want to try to look for these jungle fights because you're just going to be able to provide so much value in these fights. Like as you saw, I was pretty much able to kill all of them by myself. Except for the Singed, right? Sorry, except for the Katarina. I just sniped her. So that is how you play Pantheon in the early game, and it's actually really important that you play him like this in the early game, because if you just try to skill to the late game, you're gonna lose. You're just gonna lose. Okay, so another thing to note about Pantheon, which is the third ability. So the third ability blocks all the directional damage, right? However, it also blocks ignite damage. See, oh my god, look at that. 1 second, I dropped something, guys. See, when an enemy ignites you, you can use your third ability to block the ignite damage. And you'll see later on in this game how impactful it can be. I am not gonna spoil it, but you will see how impactful it's gonna be. Just you have to watch this video, guys. This game is gonna get so insane. Also, you know, I forgot for like 5 videos in a row to say give the video a like, because it actually really helps the channel. So if you want to support the channel and you forgot to give the video a like, you know, give it a like. It really helps. Also, subscribe if you haven't already. If you're like a new viewer, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss videos and yeah, all that kind of stuff, you know. Oh yeah, and I'm doing a skin giveaway. I also forgot about that one. Like, you know, I'm just doing the giveaway, but I'm not actually saying that I'm doing it. Basically, if you put down a comment under this video, you'll have a chance to win a skin, and I'm giving away 15 skins this month. Okay, I just wasted 30 minutes of your life. I'm so sorry, guys. That's horrible. I'm not gonna do that again for like 10 more videos. That's just like, yeah. Okay, so as you can see, Blitzcrank is actually really annoying to deal with as a Pantheon. See, these champions that can just CC you to death are really hard to deal with on Pantheon. But Pantheon is good against champions that cannot CC you to death, right? Yeah, it's really that easy. Also, another thing to note about Pantheon. So I'm gonna continue talking about the third ability. This ability is severely underrated. As I said, this ability blocks ignite. This ability blocks every single directional damage, even true damage, guys. So when Garen ults you, all you do is boom, just boom, you know, put your shield in front of you and you're gonna be blocking 100% of Garen's ultimate damage. Same goes for Darius. When the Darius uses his ultimate on you, you will be blocking all of that damage. Here, take a look at this. I blocked all of the ignite damage. Did you see that? And now he's dead. He's dead. And I am 6-0 on Pantheon. But by no means is this game over. By no means at all. Because as I said, Pantheon is incredibly powerful in the early game, and you should really be able to actually dominate the early game. You should really be able to. However, as I said, he sucks at like 5v5 team fights. And here you can see the Galio got caught out. I tried to save him, but I was a bit too late. And here, oh, the Gragas actually saved my ass, but I'm just dead. Even though I dealt so much damage to them, I'm just dead. And like as a Pantheon, as I said, you're not a champion that can just completely demolish all of the enemies, like Darius, like Garen, like you know, like 80% of the champions. You are a champion that's good at catching out the enemy, that's good at 1v1s, 2v2s, but you're not good at 1v2s and 1v3s. Keep that in mind. When you play Pantheon, play him to his powers. So that's where his ultimate comes in as well. So without his ultimate, Pantheon would be like the most useless champion ever, because as I said, he's really bad in team fight situations. You're really good in like 1v1, 2v1 situations like that, right? So, oh, I tried to catch him, but I didn't. They're really low here though. But what I was gonna say is you have to utilize the ultimate to catch out enemies in lanes, or like just basically catch out enemies. Oh my god, look at that. He saved my ass. So you want to utilize your ultimate. For example, when you're pushing the bot lane and you see the Singed is still there, you want to use your ultimate to help your team at the dragon, for example, right? Did you see that? Rewind right now. My shield saved me from the ignite damage. Did you see that, guys? That's what I'm talking about. Your shield can actually block ignite damage. And it can also block the poison damage, man. It's just so insane, guys, man. It can literally save your ass so hard in situations like that, even after you have killed the enemy. Insane. Oh man, that's so good. That's actually so good. That was so clutch. So as I said, you want to use your ultimate to either catch out enemies or force a 5 versus 4 team fight with your team, right? Like you can push the bot lane, and when you see the Singed in the bot lane, you can help your team with your ultimate. So that's really how you want to use your ultimate. It's really, really important, guys. Also, another thing to note is the buff that the buff that Pantheon received last patch, which is bonus armor penetration. Like right now, when you upgrade your ultimate, you're gonna get armor penetration on Pantheon, on everything, like your abilities, your basic attacks. So he just became better. He became really, really strong right now, especially also against tanks. Like he used to be useless against tanks, but now he's actually good against tanks. Pretty good. So here I'm just trying to stay out of the trail of Singed and get the kill for free. Take a look at this now. So what I'm gonna do here, or what the plan is I go back, heal up, and then I use my ultimate to help my team. I'm even pinging my team like, guys, I will be coming. So let's take a look at what's actually gonna happen. So I'm just ready to fight. For some reason they're doing dragon right now, which is really, really stupid. We should just fight. Oh, I'm stuck in the wall. Yeah, this is what they should. This was perfectly played, because a big mistake that I see a lot of people do is where they just try to go for the dragon. No, when you're ahead in a game, just kill the enemy jungler and then you go for the dragon. Do not just go for the dragon, because you can lose it. The enemy jungler can steal it and then everyone is going to be super mad, right? So that was perfectly played by my team. They just went for the Rengar. They killed the Rengar and then they took it for free. So here I see the Senna. I go in. Boom. I go on the Katarina and boom. This is how you use the ultimate. And boom. Stop messaging me. But boom. This is literally it. And I almost killed him. No, he's so close. And yeah, he just killed me. But did you see how I used my ultimate there? That was perfect. That was actually perfect. I saw an opportunity. I saw that the Gragas was coming. They were trying to kill one of my teammates. I used my ultimate and I killed 2 enemies. Just like that. That was the perfect, absolute perfect way to use your ultimate on Pantheon. To catch out an enemy. So, what was I gonna say? I had something to say. Oh yeah, I have a really nice video prepared for you guys tomorrow. I actually have a guest who's gonna be on my YouTube channel, which is Mozilla. He is literally the smartest person on WildRift. He knows everything. So I was like, man, please come do a video with me. And tomorrow, just tomorrow, I'll make a video with him tomorrow and you guys will see. I'm pretty sure you're gonna enjoy that video a lot. I'm not gonna say anything about it right now. Tomorrow. Yeah, so I talked a lot. Oh, about the empowered. Yeah. So Pantheon's passive, when you get 5 basic attacks, you get an empowered ability. Let me teach you some things about that. So basically, I always use it either on my second or my first ability. I never really use it on my third ability because it only gives you like bonus movement speed or something like that, which is not good. Here, unfortunately, again, all of my teammates died in the mid lane, so my ultimate was useless. My ultimate was absolutely useless here. And I realized that and I went back. So yeah. So your empowered second ability deals more sustained damage. Your empowered first ability is good for burst damage. Another thing to understand is when the enemy is low, your empowered first ability is always going to be better. Always. So let me repeat. Generally, what is happening here? Empowered second ability is more sustained damage. Right? Like you're just going to deal more damage over time. But your empowered first ability is more burst damage. Like boom, burst. And as I said, repeat again. your empowered first ability is always better if the enemy is under 20% HP, you know, when they're low. Okay, I hope you understood that one. And I never used the empowered third ability. Another thing to note is whenever you use your ultimate, you're gonna get full stacks immediately. And this team really sucks. Wow. I just realized that the team that I had in this game was really horrible. So as I said in the beginning part of this video, if you have a bad team or you get to the super late game, you're gonna fall off as a Pantheon. Even though I have 10 kills and 2 deaths, I am gonna fall off. Like, I am just gonna fall off in this game. That's the truth. What's happening here? Should be able to kill him, right? Wow, he's dealing so much damage to me. Like, here you can see how Singed is actually really good into Pantheon. I cannot go on him here. Instead, I go for the Rengar and... Wow, we didn't even kill him. I was ready to use my ultimate there, but I was like, nah. I'm probably gonna die because I didn't trust my team here. If I had a good team, I would have definitely used my ultimate there because I would have dived the enemies, and if my team followed that one up... Oh, if my team followed that one up, it would have been so good. Nice! Oh, just look at me going ham. I'm really doing my best in this game, guys, but... Like, my team is really not doing anything. And their Blitzcrank is hard focusing me, and he's doing a really good job. At this point, I was like, okay, you know what? This is probably gonna be a loss. Because I hate to say it, I really hate to say it, but as a Pantheon, you really cannot do anything if your team is like really bad. The only thing that you can do is look for 1v1 situations. But even then, when you reach the late game, you're not gonna be as strong as the early game. But still, 1v1 situations are your powers, so try to 1v1, especially the enemy jungler. Like, you know, junglers are generally going to be weak against Pantheon in these long 1v1s, because junglers are often going to be really good for burst damage, like Lee Sin, Evelynn, Rengar, Kha'Zix. But when you actually fight them 1v1 with a Pantheon, you should be able to absolutely demolish them, especially with the build that I gave you. So keep that in mind. And here, yet again, unfortunately, my team is just absolutely like heart-inting. But I go in and we get the free kill. And I'm trying to go for the Blitzcrank too. He really needs to die. Like, but he flashes over the wall. Yeah, I just take the free kill here. That was really nice. But the Kai'Sa though, like their Kai'Sa is gonna be, she's gonna demolish me. I can't do anything on my own against a Kai'Sa. So that's the thing. Like, as it doesn't matter how good you play, the only thing that you can really do against a Kai'Sa is try to catch her out. But yet again, your team has to follow you up with that, right? If you catch her out and your teammates do not follow you up, it's useless. So here I was just going for the Baron, because this is pretty much the last resort. Like, I want to get this Baron, and we should just hard focus the Baron. But unfortunately, my team just goes for a fight a bit too early. Yeah, we wasted time. Like, if you go back into this video. If you go back, you'll see that my team was actually pushing the mid lane. If we just skipped the mid lane, after I killed the Rengar, we should have just immediately gone to the Baron. If we did that, we would have been able to get the Baron and maybe like won the game. And right now they killed all of us and they can finish the game. I'm pretty sure they can just finish the game here. But you can see, even though you absolutely dominate the early game on Pantheon, it's not always gonna be enough. Because if your teammates absolutely suck, you're still going to lose the game, as you can see here. It's not like Darius, as I said, it's not like Gragas, it's not like Garen, it's not like Fiora, where you can just hard carry the game, or Camille. This is a champion that's like an absolute early game powerhouse, and you need a team to follow up. If your team follows up, Pantheon is incredibly powerful. Like, incredibly powerful, if your team follows up with you. So here I'm just getting the red buff because, yeah, I mean, our ADC is useless, so why would I not get the red buff, right? Oh, man. What a sad game. What a sad game. Here, you know, I can get the Guardian Angel. I'm just trying to be, like, as much of a tank and as much of an annoyance to the enemy team as possible, because my damage is beyond insane right now. I have 4 items, and if my team follows up with me, we can absolutely demolish them. We can absolutely demolish them. If I catch out the Kai'Sa, for example, she should be like so dead. But of course, he dies. And I cannot do anything. I cannot do anything. Yeah. And this is the thing with Pantheon, guys. This is the weakness of Pantheon. And if you play to his weakness, which I really tried to avoid in this game, but I really had to because my team kept dying. If you play Pantheon to his weakness like this, you're not going to be able to do anything. Even if you're super ahead in the game, you're just not going to be able to win the game. And that's the unfortunate truth about Pantheon, guys. But I still wanted to upload this video because of the early game. It was just basically like a pretty bad team. But it's okay. It's still a very enjoyable game, very nice. And let's take a look at how much damage I actually dealt compared to my team. I'm kind of curious. Come on. I didn't even get A rating or S rating. I dealt 28k damage. Look at my team's damage. This is not supposed to happen, by the way. As a Pantheon, you're really not supposed to deal the most damage. But yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. And yeah, I will see you all in the next WildRift video. Bye bye.